Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. Has nothing to do with color. Has nothing to do with male or female. And I say it over and over again because I know that we have a lot of new listeners here on Newsmax. And God bless you. I will appreciate you. And some people have been deceived to believe, as I was at one time, that our battle is a physical battle. And there's such a thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, and whatever other isms. It's not true. It's either right or wrong, good or evil. And I want to give you examples of how evil uses people. And evil works through people just as good works through others, all right? It works through people. And it's a battle that's happening for the soul of human beings. You know, there was a mass shooting, of course, down in Florida, where a young man, 19 years old, went into a school and killed 17 people, allegedly, and wounded many others. And there were signs of this boy having issues. Some say mental issues, but apparently he was very angry. And when you look at the history of this young man, he was put up for adoption. His father died when he was 3, I believe. Mother died recently, and the boy had to stay with another family. And, you know, no one, it's amazing, too, that it doesn't appear that along this boy's, from the age of 1 until now, no one stopped to say, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? Here's how you get over this. You know, you're leading a life of destruction. Even the kids who knew this boy, and they were in the 8th grade and younger, they recognized that he had a lot of problems, but no one seemed to have stopped or knew how to show him how to overcome them. It was reported to the FBI at least twice that this boy had made some type of suggestion of being a school shooter. He would be known as a school shooter, and yet the FBI failed to do anything about it. And now the children of the lie are coming out of the woodwork and using these children at the school there in Florida to take away our Second Amendment, to take away the guns. And the people who are doing this are people who are heavily guarded. They have bodyguards. They live behind gated communities, and they carry firearms. And if they don't carry them themselves, their bodyguards do. But for the normal people, regular folks, they say, no, you don't have a right to have a gun. No, they don't like the Second Amendment. You need to be wide open for criminals to take your life. We are better than you. We are the elitist, or the elite. And we look down on you and we tell you how to live. We're going to control you. You are not allowed to protect your family, yourself. Listen to us and follow what we want, and we are going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you don't have the First Amendment nor the Second and any other amendment that gets in the way of us controlling you. This is the mentality of the children of the lie. And they're using these children, and I want you to notice how the liberal media is promoting these children. They're showing this in the news. If these were a group of kids who were standing for the unborn child, they were against abortion. If these were children who were against so-called same-sex marriage and transgender, you wouldn't hear about this at all. They wouldn't be loving children. But the media and these elitists, they support taking your freedom away, but not the innocence. Here's an example. And I've been wondering who are paying these children to be out there? Who are encouraging this? Now I have an idea. This is from Reuters. Oprah, and by the way, these kids have already been indoctrinated. And when police come to shell, the parents are going to suffer for this because It is the fault of the father and mother that they don't be good examples and guide their children in the right way to go, so that when they go out into the world, the evil children of the lie are not able to take over their lives and control them and drive them into damnation. And here are examples of children of the lie. This is from Reuters. Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, and Steven Spielberg say they would each donate $500,000 to the March for Our Lives rally in Washington in support of gun control. So these children from Florida and others, I guess, around the country are going to Washington, D.C. to help fight to take away our rights to bear arms. And wicked people like Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, and others are supporting it. Steven Spielberg. And these people, I want to remind you, they are protected by bodyguards. They are living behind gated communities. They fly around in private jets. And they don't care about you. They want to use you. That's why they hate the president so much. It's because they want to control the people. They want power and authority over people. It's not about guns, believe me. Even godless Oprah Winfrey compared the kids to the freedom riders of the 60s. What a liar. What a liar. That is so not true. And I'm so sick of these children of the lie using the civil rights movement, using black people for every godless agenda that they come up with. This is evil. This has nothing to do with male or female. It's pure evil. And they'll call it racism if you speak out against it. Or you hate women. Or you hate this in an attempt to try and control you. It's time to wake up, America. So when I was growing up in Alabama on a plantation, under the Jim Crow laws, we had guns. As a matter of fact, when I turned 15 years old, my grandmother and grandfather gave me a rifle. And I was so excited. It was like those Jewish kids, when they become 12 or 13, they become adult, they have this party thing. For me, it was getting my first rifle. And I got up on my birthday, opened up to get, it was my rifle. I went right out into the woods. I had never shot a gun prior to that and killed a squirrel. I did not need training. I did not need no one was worried about me shooting up people, because we had morals, we had values, we understood right from wrong during those days. And these godless liberals who are trying to take away your guns, they want to control you. This is from CBS, NBC, and MSNBC. Reporters, so you have these kids being used down in Florida. And it's interesting, too, that the children of the lie, meaning the liberal media, the Democrats, the right-wing Republicans, the never-Trumpers, they take a bad situation and they blow it up and they become all emotional and they get you riled up. And then they say, we got to take guns. It's about gun control. And they hate the NRA, by the way. They really want to get rid of the NRA, National Rifle Association, of which I am a lifetime member of. Because if you notice, the people in the NRA, they are solid. I mean, just solid, God-fearing American patriot, 4th of July celebration, national anthem singers, loving what's right kind of people. And these children of the lie, like Oprah and others, can't handle that. And so if they can destroy the NRA, it's over. But anyway, they've got these children in a time of trouble, and they're using them before the bodies of the dead can even turn cold. And they're keeping you in this emotional state so they can take away your rights to bear arms. It's never going to happen in this country. I don't see that happening, but they believe they can. Don't fall for it. Whenever the children of the lie want to control you, they get you very angry or very happy. And either way, they got you. All right? Just be aware of that. So here are these godless reporters announced students are busing and marching for guns. Here we go.
Good evening. We're going to begin tonight in Florida, where 6 days after the Parkland shooting, dozens of students are on their way to the state capitol to protest gun violence.
At this moment, more than 100 students are headed to the state's capital for 2 days. Students say they will hold protests and try to talk with state legislators in their hopes to focus attention on gun control. These students have really become such a force in advocating for themselves in the wake of this tragedy.
That's right, Casey. They really have become a mouthpiece for a national issue.
Students, survivors, and now activists.
We are demanding change. We have stared down the barrel of an AR-15 ourselves.
More than 100 from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on an 8-hour trip to meet lawmakers and rally outside the Florida State Capitol tomorrow.
Now is the time to make compromise, to come together.
Stop gun violence!
Again today across Florida, students walked out of class demanding safety from gun violence on campus.
It's so easy to get a gun nowadays. It's ridiculous.
But this afternoon, Florida legislators declined to hear a bill on banning assault rifles. Students in attendance overcome with emotion.
Just think about it. If these were students going to Washington, D.C. to stop abortion or to put the Bible back in the classrooms or prayer in school or fighting for men and women to get married before having babies, bringing back the order of God, do you think these godless liberal media would be reporting it in this manner? No. You will hardly know about it at all. Pay attention. The media today, especially the liberal media, are like advocates for evil. They're like, they don't report true news anymore. CBS reporter interviews kids on the bus about their fight for gun control.
We're on hour 5 of our journey to Tallahassee, and students have been spending their time on the bus talking about what they plan to say to lawmakers. They organized this trip themselves in just a few days, and they say this is just a taste of their determination.
This is about a discussion. This is about us demanding change.
100 students from Stoneman Douglas High School boarded buses, taking their fight for gun reform to the state's capital 450 miles away. Some students wrote lists of demands, including universal background checks and a ban on military-grade weapons. Their passion palpable.
We will not rest until our voices are heard. We will not rest until people open their eyes and listen to us.
As they were sitting on the bus, Florida legislators voted down an attempt to revive a bill that would ban assault rifles. Students say they're not deterred.
Also, we're not going to let that vote down stop us. We are never going to stop pushing. And if it was introduced once, it could be introduced again.
Some of the students attended funerals this morning and say they're fighting in the names of their friends. What's your greatest hope?
My greatest hope is that we can be the last school shooting. We can be the change that this world has needed for a long time.
They say they know this will be a tough fight, and they're still discussing exactly what to ask for, but they say the important thing is to be heard.
These kids wouldn't know up from down if it came around. These kids are being trained and used by the children of the lie. By the children of the lie. It's all drama. It's fun to them. They have no idea what they're talking about. And by the way, schools are gun-free zones. And so it's evil, folks. They want to take away your Second Amendment, the children of the lie, like Oprah and others, and they want to control you. That's what it is. If you remember when the fallen Messiah was in the White House, Barack Obama, it was all about, in the whole 8 years, entire 8 years that he was in the White House, it was about how to get control over the people. Divide the races, destroy the families, bring in so-called transgender and same-sex marriage, destroy the military. It wasn't about building up and uniting. It was about destroying. And they'll use the children to do it. When he brought in all these illegal aliens, the DACA, so-called DACA children, it was about the children. And now homeless people are everywhere. In California, in Los Angeles, homeless people has created a third world state because of these godless Democrats and the godless so-called entertainers, the people who pretend to care. It's all about power. It's all about the vote. We now have the media promoting transgender so-called stars. Amazing. We got to stand up. It's a warfare between good and evil. It's a spiritual battle. These people are not your friends. We are fighting evil on the left against good on the right. And good, you should stand up. We have a great president who's standing. Let's stand with him. If the children of the lie really cared about people, they would be going to Washington, D.C. to demand that teachers and principals are allowed to carry concealed weapons in the schools to protect the children. Because this one guy went in with a gun. Nobody was armed. Even the poor football coach, may his soul rest in peace, sound like a brave man. Just imagine the lives he could have saved when he ran into the situation. And instead of having a gun to protect the kids, he used, well, what I read or heard, he used his body to protect the kids against a gun. Just imagine what that coach could have done. And instead of the kids having to hide behind glass doors and the shooter shooting through the glass, and these kids are hiding under the desk or desks and getting killed anyway, just imagine the lives the teachers could have saved had they had guns. This is not logical. I urge you not to overreact because the children of the lie, they get you emotional and they show you these horrible pictures. You get caught up. You're giving away your a Second Amendment to these people, and then you will regret it later because these are evil people. Oprah and all these people, Clooney and all them, those are evil people. They're not good people. The liberal media, they're not good, honest Americans. So you got to think for yourself, folks, and not get caught up with the hype. Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, and Steven Spielberg say they will each donate $500,000 to the March for Our Lives rally in Washington in support of gun control, translated by me as Second Amendment destruction. Take away your rights to bear arms and try to destroy the NRA. And someone needs to let them know that when they get rid of their gated communities, when they get rid of their bodyguards who are heavily armed, when they get rid of their guns, they get rid of their little private jets, then we'll lay down our weapons. It should start with them first. Let them lead the way. Since they care so much about the children, these people like Oprah and others are children of the lie. They support evil, and it's so sad that they're taking such a serious and sad situation like the killing there in Florida, and before the bodies can warm or turn cold, they are using it for a political power attempt to take power away for their own personal gain. That's what this is all about. These people don't care anything about anyone. Nothing. Here's where a MSNBC reporter interviews junior student about common sense gun reform.
This is Alfonso Calderon. He's a junior, and you tell me, why are you about to get on this bus and take this journey over the next 2 days?
Have fun.
Simply, change needs to happen in this country in two aspects. One, attitude. This country undeniably has a gun culture, and I believe that's one of the reasons somebody like Nicholas Cruz was able to acquire all these weapons and nobody even bat an eye. Second of all, gun laws. It has to be more difficult for somebody who is mentally ill and disabled like him to acquire weapons of mass destruction. Weapons like an AR-15. In this country, he's 19. He's not even able to go into the Publix right behind us and buy a beer, but he's completely capable of buying an AR-15. And I want to know where's the common sense of that.
You speak very articulately for a high school junior, also for somebody who just lost a very close friend. Where are you finding the strength right now?
There, exactly. The motivation for me is my people who I lost, my friends, and the families that are never going to have their kids come back to them again. That motivates me every single day, and it will never be a deterrent for any reason. Nothing could bring me down being reminded every single day of the horrific things I saw, and hopefully no one ever has to see ever again.
This idiot has no idea what he's talking about. He's regurgitating what he's been told. That's all. He sounds like he's reading a report that he wrote. He has no idea. And this reporter, oh, and you lost a friend. That is to get you caught up. Believe me. And you lost a friend. Get you emotional, and they got you. So they go on to Washington, D.C., supported by godless people like Oprah and George Clooney and others. Do you think you would hear from these reporters as had this been a bunch of young people going to Washington, D.C., demanding to end abortion, demanding to end Planned Parenthood, selling baby parts, unborn children body parts for profit? Would the reporter be like, oh, and you lost a baby? The student says it's taking kids to bring about change.
Alfonso, do you think that you guys can make a difference?
Definitely. We've opened doors that I feel like haven't been opened before. Finally, our lawmakers are talking. We're on a national stage right now, international stage actually. And, you know, it's the first time that I've ever seen people survive a shooting and then directly after demand change, which is, I think, something that should have happened in this country a long time ago. But it's taking kids to do this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Alfonso. There you heard it, Casey. It's taking kids to bring about change.
This dumb reporter is an activist. Believe me. Amazing. So we're talking about these godless liberals like Oprah, George Clooney, and what's Clooney's wife's first name? Amal? Yeah. Amal Clooney is George's wife. Steven Spielberg, and whomever else is supporting these, taking advantage of these children in a time of trauma to try and destroy the NRA and take away our rights to bear arms. And they are donated $500,000 for students to go to Washington, D.C. This is evil. Oprah and all these people, what they should do first is set the example, move away from their gated communities, get rid of their guns and their bodyguards, get rid of their little private jets, and live in the hood with the homeless people. There we'll lay our guns down. All right? Here is the soundbite. Teachers, so they got these young people at a time of trouble. They're putting them on buses. They got them all fired up. And you're going to notice that the liberal media activists now, they're not there to report, to be fair and balanced with the news. They're actively activists. And they're trying to take back power. They hate the president. They hate the Christians. They hate God. They hate anything that's good, including Oprah. So the teacher cries and tell about seeing students shot. The reporter says Oprah, George, Amal Clooney, and Steven Spielberg are donating $500,000 for students to go to D.C.
I just prepared to die.
It was only 6 days ago, teacher Dara Haas was teaching freshman English when she heard those first gunshots.
At first you thought this was just the drill.
I thought it might be the drill, and I went to shut the blinds, and then I turned to say, turn the lights off. And when I turned, I saw my student. I saw him, and he was bleeding.
Before it would end, 3 14-year-olds in her classroom lay dead.
It's so hard to grasp that I lost their sweet little faces.
As we were with her, she got a text from the father of one of those victims, Alex Schachter.
Oh my gosh.
It was a poem Alex had intended to submit for an upcoming assignment.
Life is like a roller coaster. It has some ups and downs. Eventually it all comes to a stop. You won't know when or how, but you will know that it will be time to get off. It's just not fair. It's not fair that they had to be taken.
Next month, many of the students gathering here in Tallahassee will march in Washington for gun control, and they'll have the support of some big names. Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney, and Steven Spielberg all say they would donate $500,000 to offset the cost of that event.
All godless liberals. I guarantee you, had that teacher been armed and stayed calm, there's a great possibility those that boy and those 2 girls could be alive today. If not all, at least 1 out of the 3. And they show this emotional reaction from the teacher. So, and then they throw out this rally thing, so you are now caught up with the emotions of the teacher, and you too will be willing to lay down your own gun. It's so sad. Wake up, America. Don't fall for it. We need clear-thinking Christians, the way they were, common-sense-thinking Christians, the way they were in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men. Don't you long for those good old days? Don't you wish for those good old days now, after all this mess? One other soundbite I need to get to you here from these boys and girls down in Florida going to Washington, D.C., Tallahassee, Florida, so-called fighting for gun control, not realizing that they are being used by the children of the lie, people like Oprah, George Clooney, and Spielberg, and George Clooney's wife, and whomever else is behind this. And they're using these in the liberal media. They're all activists. They're out of power right now because of the Great White Hope, President Trump. And they're using this situation in an attempt to gain power, to destroy the NRA, to take away the Second Amendment, which is never going to happen, by the way. And then they come up with fancy names like assault weapons, AR-15, and just like they did with this phony lie about racism, sexism, Islamophobism, homophobism, and Islam and whatever phobiaism, right? None of that stuff exists, but the children of the lie know how to get emotional words, create emotional words in order to get you to be emotional and then get you to follow them right into hell. That's why you have to be logical and not emotional. And all men who are emotional, you're a woman. It's not normal for men to be emotional. Men are logical because they're created in the image of God. So stop it. And so they're loading up these kids on the bus. Oprah and all those other folks giving them $500,000 because they're trying to regain power, folks. Lay your weapon down. This is from ABC. Mothers, more than one, mothers up in Newtown, Connecticut are writing letters. They are helping a group called Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. You gotta love these mothers.
Students and their families in Florida are getting some moral support from another community that's still healing from its own school tragedy. The mothers of Newtown, Connecticut are writing letters of support to survivors of last week's shooting. And they're reminding the students in Parkland that unlike the children of Sandy Hook Elementary, they are old enough to articulate their message to the world.
I think the difference here is that no one was going to put their 6-year-old out there to say they missed their friend. Who would do that, right? But we have 17 and 18-year-old educated children, and they're not even children, right? They're young adults who are moments away from being voters, and they're going to make a difference.
The letter writing campaign is being spearheaded by the group called Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, which now has chapters in all 50 states.
So these women make me want to write a letter, say, "Mama's hands off my gun." That doesn't, oh, mama's writing letters. How about those mothers who are living in the hoods and their children are being killed all the time? How come these mothers are not down in the hoods? It's all about power, folks. That's all it is. And you notice how the media reports it. But if it's mothers writing letters to ban abortion, if it's mothers writing letters to not pay our tax dollars to Planned Parenthood and allow them to take aborted baby parts and sell them for profits, the media would not be reporting it, not the liberal media. If mothers were going to Washington, D.C. to stop abortion, or children and mothers were going to Washington, D.C. to stop abortion, Oprah would not give $500,000. All right? Be not deceived.